cast, my mom's going to be disappointed.
No, I bet Mike would be disappointed. I'm sure he's watching.
Ah, he said he wasn't. He was texting me.
He's lying.
All right, let's roll here. This is an open meeting under section 19.81 to 19.98 of the Wisconsin State Statutes. As far as last month's meeting minutes, I did not see a copy included in my packet. All right,
I'll apologize. Randy and I are transitioning on how we're getting packets out, and so I take the blame on this. I'm not used to the one organizing the packets, so.
Supposed to include that?
No, I'll know to do it just like the monthly report I'll know how to do now that we're on the same train.
I'm going to blame Tyler.
So we'll have them for next meeting. I apologize.
all right, all good. Monthly staff reports. I did not see anything included that way either. Any communication or course?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Okay.
It's going smoothly so far. So we'll hand out a couple that way. Here.
Okay.
A couple that way. Is that enough?
All right, let's just take a minute here to do the comparison and make note of anything that catches your eye here between the 2021 and 2022 reports. Looks like we're up about 1,000 in attendance at vets.
Cool, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the weather is certainly helping us out. Been able to maneuver around the staffing issues we've had. Tyler's been doing a great job of maneuvering through that.
Anything else catch your eye, guys?
Does that have the, I know we had with the county getting passes at a discounted rate, so to speak. Is that number, are we keeping track of those numbers separately, or is that all in these numbers?
The answer to that question is yes. So we are keeping track of it separately because we have to send the county an invoice for what they'll be owing us for the difference between the resident and non-resident pricing. So that is kept separately. I don't have those numbers pulled out of here, so when you're looking at the attendance, that's part of that. I can certainly, we usually do a year-end report for the season, so that will definitely be highlighted on that, and I can make note to give you a heads up of where we're with that in
Yeah, no,
August.
that would just be interesting, 'cause I was just thinking about that. I know that was part of the deal. I mean, us being one of the only pools opened in the county too, I'm sure help us with our attendance going up, but I was just kind of curious, that's
Yeah,
all. No
I'll
big
make
deal.
note
No worries, Sherry.
to have that for August, or for the September meeting.
That's fine. No worries.
Yeah, I do think you're going to see that pretty well represented in that year-end report that
Yeah.
Tyler puts together. So, anything else catch your eye, guys?
Oh, that Silver Sneakers, program and renewal up at the rec, that is up over 30%. That's a lot of people coming through there using that program.
Yeah, having a real rebound from
Yeah.
COVID. I don't know, Sarah, we're not quite to where we were pre-COVID, if I remember that discussion correctly. I've had a lot of discussions in the last month, so.
Yeah, I think our financial numbers are pretty much there pre-COVID as far as our payments that we get monthly for the 3 different programs we participate in. Our land exercise class attendances are still lower, but yet overall I think our numbers are doing well. So I'm not quite sure why the land exercises haven't rebounded fully. We'll see what happens this fall. Summer, everybody, kind of takes the summer off a little bit and goes outside to exercise. So when they come back inside in the fall, when the weather gets a little colder, windier, icier, we'll see where those land exercise classes are.
The lazy river walking is up 200
Yeah.
over last year, so that's been popular and growing every year. So, I mean, that's almost 1,000.
All right. Any communication or correspondence come in, Randy?
One I'll mention later.
Okay. Appearances of public comments. I think we'll have somebody speaking to one of the agenda items.
Yep.
No old business. Under new business administration, we'll have the election of officers. At this time, I would ask for nominations from the floor for the office of president of the Park and Recreation Commission.
I'll nominate Todd Rosniak.
I'll second that, Todd.
Nomination by John, second by Ken. Thank you, guys. I'll accept that nomination. Are there any other nominations for the office of president? Are there any other nominations for the office of president? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations, and all in favor of me for president of the Park and Recreation Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, guys. I appreciate the support. At this time, I'll open the floor for nominations for the office of Vice President of the Park and Recreation Commission. Anyone?
I'll nominate Scott Helms.
Nomination by Kate. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Karen. Scott, would you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there any other nominations for the office of Vice President of the Park and Rec Commission? Are there any other nominations for the office of Vice President of the Park and Rec Commission? Hearing none, I will close the nomination process. All in favor of Scott Helms as Vice President of the Hartford Park and Rec Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Scott.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving up agenda item E2 and 3 to the present time so that we can get these guys taken care of and out of here and not have to sit through the rest of our business meetings. So,
All right.
go ahead,
Yep,
Randy.
Centennial Park update. I do have John Griffin, city engineer, here to back me up on some of our happenings. So last week, Mike Herman, John, Brian Worth, and myself met with MSA. For me, it was an introduction to the project formally. Mike was able to get his final insights, and we were able to finalize some of our requests with MSA. With that, we talked over the process and the timeline that they needed. Initially, we were hoping to go out to bid sometime here in August. After talking with MSA, they felt like they need a little more time. So we're delaying that process until basically the first week of September, which will not push back our construction at all. We'll still be able to maintain the same timeline. We went through the calendar schedule as far as when things needed to be approved and through council. So with that, that won't adjust the timeline. John, I don't know if there was anything you wanted to add to that, or you want to come up to the table next to Melanie, or if you want to go to the podium.
There we go. Good evening.
Good evening.
The plan is, they needed a couple extra weeks, MSA did, to get the documents together. They are moving along well, though. The plan is right after Labor Day to get it out to bid. We're looking at I thought it was mid-October award here with the council. And then to give the contractor an opportunity that in November into December, if weather permitting, if they wanted to get the footings in the ground, they could, so that they could work on it through the winter.
Any questions for John? John, if we get another rainstorm like we got a week ago Saturday, anything like that, are we talking about pushing it back significantly again?
I think the biggest risk right now is that we have found contaminated soil behind the wall in the park. It's a big deal. The Wander Construction, of course, we've tried to dewater the pond and have been somewhat successful with that. Wander Construction's mobilizing in right now this week. The plans to try and get started as early as next week, depending on the site conditions. So they're preparing for that. Unfortunately, this contaminated soil issue is significant. What happened was when the soil driller was out there for soil borings to determine the bearing capacity of the soils for the foundations of the new pavilion and other structures that would be erected in the park. The driller noted a chemical odor in some of the soil samples that he pulled up out of the ground, which required that we report that to the DNR as a release, unknown release, and we also are now in the process of using our environmental consultant Stantec to evaluate the soils throughout the site. Originally, the soil was going to come out from behind the wall, and it was going to go to a gravel pit or to Langenmeyer's stockpile to be used somewhere else. Unfortunately, tomorrow I've got, Stantec's got a driller coming in to go 50 feet, every 50 feet behind the bulkhead wall and to pull some more soil samples. We'll expedite those samples through a lab and hopefully have results back next week, but that'll determine what areas behind the wall we have to remove that material and ship it to the landfill, to the hazardous waste landfill. So I guess as far as the implication to the project, we have already $63,000 in environmental fees we're looking at, plus up to $150,000 in soil management issues out there. Right now, I'm meeting with Wander again tomorrow out there at the site. They're looking at progressing differently. They were originally going to build the new wall from inside of the pond, tear down the old wall and rebuild the new one. Now they're looking at, in order to minimize the disruption, to minimize the amount of material moved, we're looking at working from on top of the wall, behind the wall, and removing the wall last, essentially, and putting the new one in, because we have to take this 13 feet of soil from behind the wall, remove it, get it out of the way, and then put in clean fill, structural fill for behind the wall. There'll be more updates, but I did really want to share that with you, that unfortunately, that is the biggest schedule risk we have out there right now. It may also impact how we discharge dewatering. They're going to have to do some dewatering, and the water coming out of those soils is likely to be contaminated too, and we may have to run that to our sanitary sewer, provided that when we get the waste characterizations back, that it won't wreck our system. I don't think it will. It's very low level degraded diesel fuel is what Stantec has told me, number 6 diesel fuel, so it could have come from trains or heating fuel. And the hottest spots are in the northeast end of the park, extreme east end of the park. Maybe the eastern third of the park has some very hot soil, and there were old Chrysler buildings that extended out over that area. There were rail spurs that extended through that area, so it could have been a locomotive sitting there every once in a while, just drip, drip, dripping, and we just don't know. But as soon as I get more info, I'll report that to you. If any delay in the wall project could potentially be a delay in the pavilion project, just knowing that. But we're doing everything we can to keep everything rolling, cracking the whip. We did have some additional funds left over from the bulkhead wall project that may be used now. Any questions?
Anyone? Thank you, John. Appreciate the input. Randy, we'll move on.
All right, yep. Park bathroom renovation updates. We were anxiously waiting for the plans for that. We did get those from Gene Eggert. We sat down, went over those plans. He did a really nice job with the prints for all 3 bathrooms. We needed those in a timely manner to get them to Justin Drew as far as the CBDG grant. Thank you, John. So we got those to Justin in the nick of time. So those are now, John was also involved in that process too. Timeline for that is, those are going to be going out to bid.
They are out to bid.
They are, that's right. Okay, thank you. Yep, they are on the website.
That's money we need to spend by the end of the year.
Yep, so those projects need to be in and done, as John said.
What's the cutoff date to have those projects complete? Was it the end of October?
The last day that a contractor can charge on these projects would be December 31st.
And we're still good for the grant?
Yes. We were trying to get
Yeah,
it
that was
earlier,
October.
we thought we'd have more time. We had hoped that they would get their work done essentially as quickly as possible, but it didn't.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as long as we're still on target to be able to use all the grant money that's for it, that's great, because I know this is something I brought up several months ago, that we probably should have had this out to quote back in much earlier in spring, but I understand the process we had to go through and going with all the extra drawings and stuff like that, and it's done well, so, and then you still got to get it all approved. So it's the right path, it's just we're going to have to, when selecting your contractor or contractors, maybe this we'll have to look at, is what is their timeline when they're quoting? When are they going to get them done? So you might have to hire 3 of them to get the projects done. If you have to run each one separately, or if someone has a plan that they could hopscotch between them all, then there you go. But I know it's a considerable lot of work in a very short period of time. So I'm anxious to hear how this one rolls out.
Good stuff, Joel. Anyone else? Anything else, Randy, on?
Nope, that's what I had. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then we're going to move to Candy Cane Park donations, the $50,000 donations from John and Robert Nightingale.
So that you should have had in your packets, the letter that went out. At the July 12th council meeting, Robert Nightingale and his 2 granddaughters presented the city with 2 $25,000 checks, one from him and one from his brother John, to go towards upgrades at the Candy Cane Park. Their father, Larry, was the former street superintendent, along with working in the engineering department. They lived in the neighborhood, so they had always utilized that park. So Robert and John felt like this was a good way to recognize their parents with a $50,000 donation. I'm excited to see what I can do with that, and get that in ASAP.
That's going to make that park a destination park in the city.
Yeah, no, I mean, we saw it on our tour last month. I thought the crew, or actually it was the neighbor, did a nice job cleaning up that brush line and donating that new fence. So I think that was an improvement already, and yeah, by all means. A couple of the ideas I have, Mike had suggested, he had pointed out some construction-themed playground equipment to go along with being the street superintendent. Also, I'll talk to the crew about maybe bringing in some more fill to level that parcel off. It's a low-lying area. It tends to flood, so I think that's why the city acquired it originally from the builder. But those are just some of the ideas, and of course, would really like to put in a new bench with a dedication to the Nightingale family on there too, right underneath the tree. So,
Anything on that, anyone? All right, thanks to the Nightingales for that very generous donation. Rec programs and activities, staff reports. Melanie?
So for summer playground and all of that, we actually only have 2.5 weeks left, so the summer has flown by. It's been going really well. The staff are enjoying their summer. They're getting more and more used to it as it goes on, so that's great. We are full for the last 2 sessions, which is also great. We're going on a few more field trips. And then out of everyone that are registered, we have a majority of them attending almost every single day. So I'd say that that's a pretty good turnout for summer playground at this point. For the Tots a Little registration and everything, we do have a total of 28 registered already. It did just open on July 11th. Still time for that to fill up. Michael Stoyer is returning again this fall. Parents love him. I've only heard good things, so I'm excited to move forward this fall with him. And yeah, so registration just started, and we have 28 total with one of the sessions already full out of the 2 sessions for the fall. And then for cheerleading, cheerleading starts next week, Wednesday. We have Sarah Young teaching the program. She's coming back to do that. And it runs every Wednesday until September 14th. We are full with 20 kids, and then they will have a performance at the flag football game on September 17th.
Very good. Moving on to adult and youth sports.
So youth ball just wrapped up last week. The season went great. We had no major issues. I sent a survey to all of the coaches just to kind of get a little bit of feedback. Still waiting a little bit on that. We actually just kind of, with Sarah's help, made a whole new storage space. So we're hoping that next year we're even more organized than we were this year to go, head into it. But yeah, it's already over. So it was a fun one.
I want to jump in real quick, and I want to give a special thanks to Sarah with the transition from Alden to Melanie, and with everything Mike was handling. Sarah really stepped in, set up a lot for the youth ball program. I would say it's above and beyond, but it's really not for Sarah, for her stepping up like that. And I think Melanie would agree, it made the transition real nice for her to be able to slide right in. So I want to thank Sarah for her extra time and effort there.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Lauren helped with youth ball a lot too.
Yeah, and Lauren, yes. Sorry.
I mean, and I know Randy knows that, but I mean, Lauren is very hands-on with youth ball, but yeah, there was a lot going on. And we always know spring is not a good time to lose somebody in our department. So and Melanie jumped right in and was able to handle it all, so that was awesome.
Thanks to all of you for a great season.
Yeah.
Kickball?
For kickball, it started yesterday. It's going to run for 4 weeks, ends on August 23rd. We have 40 kids signed up, so we're utilizing 2 fields. And I checked in with the staff today. They had a great time yesterday. They were having fun, and they're actually excited to do the rest of the season, or the program, so that's exciting.
Flag football.
For flag football, preseason is the last week of August, and then games start on September 10th. Registration is open until August 18th. And then I have reached out to the high school coach to recruit players as coaches as well, so hopefully we can get them on board soon. And then currently we have 26 kids signed up for the 6 and 7-year-olds and 16 for the 8 and 11-year-olds.
Is that pretty static, or is that a growing number or declining? I'm just curious.
Well, that number there is smaller than what we'd want. From what I recall in the past, the numbers had been declining because we've combined levels. Is that true, Sarah? I know my son's actually participated the last 2 seasons. I think we've had like 5 or 6 teams. Where we really struggle is the coaches. Varsity players haven't had as many as we had when I was here. But I let Melanie know what I've done, and I'm sure she's followed through on that. And as she said, contacting Coach Redders and getting word out to the kids that need the help there. But usually with these athletic leagues, everybody's still in summer mode. July just ended, so we expect an influx within the next 2 weeks here. I know my son is not registered yet, but he will be. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, the 26 sounds somewhat on par with the 16. Just seems a little bit low. So.
Yep.
All right, Vets Aquatic Center.
I will handle that. Tyler's not able to be here. So season reports. The final session of swim lessons began August 1st. There were only a very small number of spots that were not filled. We were able to add teachers to the session due to the demand, and those classes also filled very quickly. August 4th, we will have our search and find event during the open swim. During this event, guests will be able to find hidden messages and pictures throughout the facility by getting the pool deck wet to reveal the invisible figures. So that should be fun. Yeah. Update on the staffing. Pool staff have continued to step up, minimizing the shortages. There's a concern with the late season picking up as the staff have already begun to look for subs of their own because of their own various athletic schedules and practices that are now starting. Overall, we've had a very we've been very appreciative of the staff, as I mentioned earlier, and their hard work. It has been a successful summer. People have been very understanding when they've had to close features, but even at that, I think that's been kind of few and far between. Like I said, I felt like Tyler's done a good job of maneuvering through those pitfalls this summer.
Signacast.
Yes. Annual maintenance update there. With pool resurfacing coming in significantly over budget, we are pushing that project forward to 2023, and we will begin working to pair that project with the slide update and water feature update. Originally, the pool would have been closed during the month of August to complete the project. However, now the closing of the pool will be August 13th through September 9th. During this time, staff will be completing their normal routine drain and maintenance. Additionally, we'll be having work done to repair a defective caulk that was installed last year at this time. Brian, anything to add to that?
All right, so the resurface project got pushed back because the bids were too high?
Yes. So we're carrying forward the money that we had budgeted this year, and then we're asking for the overage in '23 to be able to cover the costs.
With hopes that we can either better on the bids or...
Better on the bids, hopefully, and hopefully Finance and Council agrees to the budget.
Okay. Any questions for Randy on the aquatics? I'm sorry, any other questions for Melanie on the youth and adult sports?
Not bad for your first time.
Very
Well,
good.
considering when she came in, right, I mean, she came in at the beginning of a lot of these activities. I know had a lot of help, with Sarah, but I mean, I remember the playground camp wasn't even something that was going to happen, and
Yeah.
you guys pulled it through, so it made it work. So, a good job for your first year here. You've definitely shown, exactly that you're here to fight and you're here to get everything done. So nice job. Yep.
All right. Picking up where we left off, we have the Parks report next.
Yep, I'm gonna throw some stuff out there, and if Brian wanted to jump in afterwards, that's why he's here. Eagle Scout project platform, we're hoping that will go in. We were hoping to have that poured this week. I don't think we made any headway this afternoon on that, right? Correct, Brian, or?
We're in process this afternoon of lining up the concrete for delivery, and we hadn't received a notice by the end of my working day today, but we should tomorrow morning by the
Okay.
time we meet with our crews.
Sounds good. In Willowbrook, may have noticed one of the large willow trees is now taped off. We have discovered a large crack in the trunk that had grown from when it was first reported, had widened by an inch or so. So we are currently working through that. It's not, it shouldn't be a danger to the public. The part that's hanging is over the river, but with the river being low, that'll tend to draw kids into that area, so that is a concern of ours. We've been working with Hartford Utilities, kind of met with them, and now we're going to be renting a lift.
Correct.
If you want to jump in, Brian.
The 65-foot four-wheeled platform lift, so we can strategically get the tree in the safest possible manner that we can, because that tree is very dangerous to the person that's going to be doing the work on it also. So what we're going to do is, as soon as the river also is at a point where we know it's going to be stable for a while, meaning low, we'll extend the boundary for the caution tape into that gravelled area, just in case something does happen. We view that tree every day to make sure that the crack or the fracture isn't going any lower to cause a greater harm to anybody, because then we may just have to drop that particular one piece and leave it lay until we can have the staff and the other lift available to cut the rest of the tree down safely. So unfortunately, it'll be another couple weeks before we can group together with the right equipment to make it happen in the safest manner possible. So,
And we chose not to outsource it, just talking among city staff. We estimated that having someone come in to do that work would be anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 to do the work on that individual tree. And it's too bad, because it is a large tree. I wouldn't be over exaggerating if I said the base of the trunk is about as wide as our desk area here. So it will be missed, but it's nothing that can be done. There'll be a new tornado siren going in at Rotary Park. Learned this at department head this morning. The fire department is purchasing that. The install will be done by the utilities along with the company they purchased the siren from. We'll do the final install. For the fire department, this is called a louder siren, and this will allow them to eliminate 2 more sirens that they have in the city, saving them money. Well, if they're saving money, we're all saving money, is the way I saw it. There's concern about how loud it is. There are a couple houses right there. Again, that's the idea, that you can hear it. And then their weekly tests are Saturdays. Chief Stevens said, each test will be less than 15 seconds. So if you compare it to, if you're concerned about the train going by, train goes by multiple times, sometimes just as loud. So just a quick update there. The other thing I'll mention before I'll let Brian comment anything, I did include the Parks Project and Maintenance Report in our packet, so at least I did that. The one change I've done, maybe Mike was doing this, I don't know. I left everything on there and I crossed off some of the projects that we had on there with a month of completion. Obviously, with me being here the month of July, I knew that was done, and I want to thank Brian for that legwork. Brian is the main go-between from the office to the park staff. I do communicate with them daily. Right now, it's more of an observation as I watch Brian work with Ron Heschley and the rest of the crew. Anything you wanted to add to the parks report, Brian?
No, we've taken approaches on some of the projects, but they're not quite finished, so I didn't feel comfortable crossing them off completely because they're not 100% finished yet, but there's probably another dozen on this list that are real close, but we're not ready yet.
Excellent. All right, any questions for Randy or Brian on the parks report, project report? All right, commission requests. Anything tonight? Then I'll jump in, and we'd like to thank Karen Buell for many years of service to the community, both here on the commission and in other capacities. She's moving on to greener evening pastures, I guess, say.
Other
So,
things. You're welcome. I enjoyed my time on the commission. Thank you.
thank you, Karen.
And we do have a replacement ready. Dan Hummel has been interested, and I think most of you are familiar with Dan. I had conversations with him, and the mayor was in agreement. So it's nice that we have someone to fill a spot right away instead of scrambling and looking. Not that I wanted you to go, Karen. I just
No, that was good too. That you
feel
filled it right
fortunate we
away.
had someone in place. And then I guess I would also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Mike Herman not being here. From what I understand, he had never missed a commission meeting in how long has he been?
Really?
Since the early 90s.
I remember one time I was pretty sick, really going.
So he's never taken a day off, never taken a first Wednesday of the month vacation. Or if he was off, he showed up for the meeting. So there's some pretty big shoes for me to fill right there. So
He
just
would
wanted
come
to-
back from the WPRA conference to do the meeting once. So we usually try to reschedule it, but there was one time we couldn't, and he came back.
So just wanted to give a nod to Mike, just in case he was tuning in. I'm sure he'll watch the YouTube version.
Anything else tonight? If not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Motion by Joel,
Second.
second by Karen. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.